Hey guys, welcome back to our channel where we bring you the best content in the movies and entertainment industry. In today's episode, we're going to show you the 11 worst deaths in Game of Thrones. So, without wasting much time, let's get started. Number 11, Jon Snow. Although nearly all viewers expected Jon Snow, Kit Harington, to return after being ruthlessly betrayed by his Night's Watch brothers, the conclusion of the 5th season concluded quietly with Jon being stabbed to death and bleeding out in the snow. During the season's break, poor Harington had to avoid inquiries about whether his death was real or not. For many who believed Jon was the son of Lyanna Stark and Rhaegar Targaryen, his return seemed inevitable, especially because he's been a significant protagonist since the beginning. But if Ned's death taught us anything, it's that anyone can die at any time, and Jon's ambiguous situation left many wondering whether the Stark bastard had seen his final days or not. Number 10, Tommen. While the deaths of the other important characters score higher, it was nevertheless stunning to see King Tommen die so casually. He was not as nasty or callous as his older brother, Jaime. He became a casualty of the Game of Thrones after witnessing his mother blow up the Sept of Baelor. He was a kitten lover and simply a sweet kid. With his city in ruins and his queen dead, Tommen removed his crown and went directly out of his window, plunging to his death. Cersei's last child, Tommen, died, sending her further into grief and dictatorship. Number 9, Viserys Targaryen. Viserys Targaryen is one of Game of Thrones' early villains. While the Lannisters are almost immediately pitted against the Starks, Viserys emerges as one of the first truly evil characters. He uses his sister like currency, goes above and beyond what is considered entitled, and is basically a whiny little snot. The audience had previously witnessed some cruelty by the 6th episode of Season 1, but when Khal Drogo breaks Viserys' arm and spills a kettle of melted gold over his head after his "I want my crown" rage, the first genuinely notable death of the series occurred. The villains, like the heroes, were susceptible.
I want the crown he promised me.
Says yes.
He bought.
You shall have a golden crown.
Number 8, Littlefinger, Petyr Baelish.
Give me a chance to defend myself. I deserve that. Sansa, I beg you.
One of the reoccurring motifs of Game of Thrones' latter seasons is that most of the bad guys receive their comeuppance, and most of the good guys come out alive. Walder Frey, Mirren Trance, Ramsay Bolton, and Petyr Baelish are all dealt with in remarkably equitable ways for Westeros. The season had been developing towards a new plotline before Littlefinger's death, with Littlefinger turning Sansa and Arya Stark against one another. When Sansa turns the tables on Littlefinger, we see him deteriorate into a shell of himself, pleading for his life as Arya cuts his throat. It seems fitting that he would be eager to try any trick, no matter how pitiful or likely to fail, before admitting defeat. Number 7, Joffrey Baratheon.
Tell me my one.
If it please your grace, Lady Sansa is
No.
very tired.
No, you'll wait here.
Olenna Tyrell poisoned King Joffrey while he was celebrating his marriage to Margaery Tyrell. We see the ruthless monarch scratching at his throat, struggling to breathe, turning purple, and leaking body fluids from his nose and mouth. Apart from the narrative relevance of Joffrey's death, no death was too terrible to make us feel sad for this nightmare of a human. Perhaps the shock was more celebration when his dying breath departed his body. They finally killed that jerk. Number 6, King's Landing residence. Throughout Game of Thrones, we see Daenerys Targaryen slowly and sometimes not so slowly slide towards insanity. She ultimately loses her marbles as she sits atop Drogon. After coaxing surrender from the city of King's Landing, she immediately destroys the Westerosi capital city, as well as the majority of its inhabitants, with Dragonfire. Daenerys going nuclear at this moment is abrupt and thus unexpected due to the uneven pace of the last seasons. The absolute betrayal of everything that has driven her character for 8 seasons breaks the wheel. Justice for the ordinary people. This symbolic death is, in some ways, more shocking than Daenerys' actual death in the following episode. By this time in the series, it's clear that she's more like her father than anyone else. While the narrative execution is poor, she concludes fittingly with the Mad King's ultimate order about the citizens of King's Landing: burn them all.
Burn them all!
Number 5. Marjorie, Tyrell, and Others. The final episode of Season 6 begins with an 8-minute build of ominous piano music, Grand Meister Picel being stabbed to death by children, candles slowly burning towards barrels of wildfire, and an increasingly nervous Marjorie telling the High Sparrow that Cersei Lannister's absence from the trial portends disaster. Marjorie is correct, and Cersei solves all family business in a bloodbath. The wildfire explodes, blasts up the Sept of Baelor, and disintegrates everyone in it. This sequence felt like the showrunners realized they had a massive number of plot lines to get through before the program began its final narrative collapse. This event resulted in the deaths of Marjorie, High Sparrow, Loras Tyrell, Mace Tyrell, Lancel Lannister, and Kevan Lannister, as well as the end of Sparrow's religious cult with King Tommen Baratheon committing suicide. Number 4. Tywin Lannister. Tywin Lannister, the patriarch of the Lannister dynasty, was almost certainly supposed to die. While it's easy to focus on the details of his death killed by his son Tyrion while using the restroom, and the predictable political power struggle that ensues as the shocking elements, the revelations that he's sleeping with Tyrion's former love interest, Shae, and that a large portion of his character sketch is a lie, are perhaps more shocking. Despite his devotion to family, legacy, and moral superiority, we see that Tywin isn't all that different after all. To put it another way, he does not have crap gold. Number 3. Oberyn Martell. There are more crucial moments in Game of Thrones than the trial by a fight between Oberyn Martell and the Mountain, but few are more violent. While it was inevitable that O'Brien would lose this duel, the manner in which he does it is shocking. Oberyn begins demanding admissions of guilt for the Mountain's rape and murder of O'Brien's sister, Elia, after overwhelming the Mountain. Of course, in the world of Game of Thrones, this works out very well. Oberyn is thrown by the Mountain, who punches out his teeth. The Mountain then puts his fingers in Oberyn's eyes before blowing up his head. This sequence, visuals, and noises make it the most straightforward type of shock on the list. Number 2. Hodor. Hodor's death may be the most elegantly done narratively of all the dramatic deaths in Game of Thrones. While his death elicits an emotional response due to his character's purity and longevity, the revelation that Bran Stark is the source of Hodor's incapacity to communicate beyond the word Hodor is the most stunning. When it's revealed that Hodor is just a slurred blend of the phrase, "hold the door," which Mara Reed shouts to Hodor as he attempts to hold off the army of whites chasing the group, it arguably indicates that Hodor knew the moment of his death since the moment Bran warged into him many years ago. The episode's conclusion, which consists solely of Hodor's voice steadily transitioning from "hold the door" to Hodor, hits like an atomic bomb. Number 1. Shireen Baratheon. Shireen Baratheon, Stannis Baratheon's daughter, is mistreated by her mother, has a facial skin disfigurement due to grayscale, and is practically imprisoned away in a tower. Despite everything, she's always willing to assist her father in any way she can. What she doesn't realize is that her father has lost all sense of reality as a result of his blind devotion to Melisandre, causing Stannis to believe that burning his baby daughter at the stake is the only way for him to overcome his defeats on his quest to seize Winterfell. Whatever you think of the narrative choice, there's no disputing that this is the most disturbing sequence in the entire series, for the night is certainly dark and full of terrors. That's it for the video, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Press that like button if you did, and comment down your thoughts on it. Share the content and spread the good content. Subscribe to the channel for more amazing content. See you in the next one. Peace out.